lives, we feel the silence of God. And I'm sure once in a while we have asked ourselves, where is God when things are getting worse? Where is God when things are falling apart in our lives? But today God is reminding us that He is not an absent Father, and He is not a quiet or a silent Master. God is very active, and He speaks to our lives and situations in a very profound way. If we look at how God speaks to us, He speaks in many ways, but these many ways can be summarized into 3 ways. God who speaks to us in mysteries, God who speaks to us in parables, God who speaks to us in contradictions. That is why the gospel of today is called the Sermon on the Plain. It is different from the Sermon on the Mountain because Jesus is addressing real issues and real feelings of the people at the moment. That is the same with us this morning. God is talking to real issues in our lives at the moment. We must ask ourselves, what are we feeling now? What are our challenges now? Do we feel pain in our lives? Do we feel disappointed in our lives? Do we feel things have not gone the way we expected? And Jesus is answering, blessed are we when we feel like that, because God is a God who always takes the side of those who are weak, those who are broken, those who are actually feeling pain in their lives. That's why this morning, God is calling upon each and every one of us not to be afraid of the crosses of our lives. When we are afraid of the cross, we are afraid of God. When we are afraid of the cross, we are afraid of victory. When we are afraid of the cross, we are afraid of blessings in our lives. Because when we look at the cross of Jesus Christ, we see the mystery of the love of God. When we look at the cross of Jesus, we see the parable that God used to teach the world. When we see the cross of Christ, we see the contradiction that God is using to speak to us. Therefore, this morning, we must pray for the gift of patience. Let us be patient with God. Let us give God time to sort out impossible issues in our lives. We must also be patient with ourselves. We must understand that we are human beings, and making mistakes or being weak is not a weakness. Repeating those mistakes or denying our weakness is the greatest weakness. So we pray in a special way that God may give us grace to be patient with ourselves. We also pray that God gives us the patience, the grace to be patient with the world and things the way they happen. We may be seeing challenges, but in those challenges there is the power and the grace of God that cannot be destroyed. We may be weeping, we may be feeling poor, we may be feeling people are not speaking well about us, but God is hidden in those mysteries of our lives. Just like the first reading, a very interesting reading, St. Paul is talking about the hidden mystery of God in our commitment. St. Paul is saying, when you are married, rejoice in your marriage and take the crosses in your marriage, and don't want not to be married. But when you are not married, also hold into your commitment without feeling that you are losing anything. We always say that a married man is a worried man. A married woman is a worried woman. And of course, you have so many things to worry about. But today, God is talking to us to turn our worries into our worship, worshiping the Lord with the events that happen in our lives. That is what enriches our prayer, because in prayer we bring our lives to God. We bring our worries to God. And this morning we ask, what is worrying us in our lives? What is worrying me in my priestly commitment? What is worrying me as your parish priest? What is worrying me as a human being? Turning that worry into worship, that means praising God with our challenges and our situations, will actually bring the glory of God. What is worrying you as a married person? What is worrying you at the moment as a father? What is worrying you as a civil servant, particularly in these hard moments? God is saying that instead of giving up, let us patiently turn our worries into our worship, and we will see the glory of God. Kawuono walemo mondo Nyasaye manyalo gik moko duto omiwa neema mar horuok kata weche ok dhi maber e ngimawa. Nyasaye ong'iyo gimomiyo gik moko timore kaka timore. Mane momiyo ngima ma Nyasaye en ngima mar midhiero. To midhiero en kama Nyasaye oponde. Kawuono Nyasaye nyisowa ni oponde chandruok, oponde tembe, oponde gik ma seche moko pok odhi maber e ngimawa. Ka walemo kinde duto kendo wamiyo Nyasaye thuolo mar tich, to wabiro neno neema kod ngima ma Nyasaye ngimawa. Wakwa mich mar neemano, wakwa mich mar ngimano kuomwa ndalo duto. To moloyo kaka Paulus puonjowa e somo mokwongo, timo kinda e ngima ma waseyiero. Ka waseyiero ngima mar kend, nyaka watime kinda, kata orach kata ober, kata wan gi tem kata onge tem. Nyaka watim kinda. Ka wayiero bende ngima mar dak maonge kend, bende nyaka watim kinda. Wakwa Nyasaye omiwa neema matimo kinda. Nikech piny sani opong' gi miriambo mang'eny. Piny sani opong' gi miriambo mang'eny mawuondowa ni seche moko ka ok watimo kinda to koro wanyalo. Gima nyaka wang'e ni gima watimo ne kinda kawuono ema biro bet golemo kiny. To ma ok watimo ne kinda kawuono to biro kethore kiny. Nyaka wapenje ni wadwa ketho ngimawa koso wadwa loso ngimawa.